got you on fire. I see you already. I see you are already on. I know the numbers probably aren't accurate, but over 6,000 by 10 recruits. Absolutely crushing it. Going into the new year on fire, like you said you were going to. Um, so I'm excited to hear from you, David. I know this is you and Keisha's year. I know what you're capable of and ready to do, and I know you got some superstars that you are working with. So please, I know you got an appointment coming up, so I want you to go ahead and go right into it. Please hit on those points that you were talking about and what you are doing right now to be at the top of the state in rep recruiting.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, Coach. Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. I know we said we was gonna do something. Keisha and I did, but we can't take any of the credit, all the credit for that. We got to give it to our team as well. TMP, they literally went into it. They said, you know what, we just gonna do what we got to do, Coach. You just tell us to do it. We're gonna run the play, right? So we just been running. We just been really getting recruits off to a fast start, which is my first point. I'm gonna plug into that. How important is it for to recruit in the field within 24 hours? Well, it's a big deal because that's the only way they're gonna be able to see results. That's what makes them believers, right? That's what makes them see, hey, you know what? This thing is real, right? I had somebody come to me one time and he was like, I said, man, they have people making 50 grand and a year in this business, and their work ethic is outrageous. And they was like, well, 50 grand a year, and they was like, this is what's crazy. They was like, well, you mean to tell me I'm gonna make 50 grand a year? I said, I can't tell you what you're gonna make, but it's up to you. It's your work ethic, right? And he was like, I said, but don't come here talking about something you willing to do in this, you want to make in this business, but you ain't making it on your job, right? Don't come here talking about that you want to make 50 grand in this business and you get mad because the first 2 days you ain't make 10,000, but you ain't put in no $10,000 work ethic. You got to put in the work, right? In this business, which leads me to my second point, as far as getting them out to a fast start, having that mindset of large numbers. See, when you got to recruit off to a fast start, you got to be in the field with them. You got to say, who is your auntie, who is your uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies. You want to go see everybody that day, right? If you recruit them, you call them up on the phone and just have them call their best friend and say, hey, Marcus, what you doing? Oh man, I ain't doing nothing, just sitting here relaxing, man, day off. Say, man, look, me and my friend, I don't like to say manager, especially when you're talking as a friend. I got me and a buddy of mine, we're gonna come by there, man. We got something super nice we're gonna show you. And then we go by the house. That's just that simple. I can't tell you how to talk to your friend, that's your friend. I don't know what you're gonna tell your friend. You talk to your friends every day, I don't, right? And so that's what we do, 24 hours, right? Large numbers, right? You don't want to try to second guess or try to start saying, I want to get maximum output for minimum input. I'm gonna say that again. You don't want to get maximum output for minimum input. What I mean by that is, if you only get 1 or 2 names and numbers a week, but you want to go 10 by 10, it's not gonna happen. See, everybody thinks it happens overnight. No, it's just like the rule of 72. It's about compounding interest. If you're going to compound interest on money, compound interest on your work ethic, compound interest on your recruiting, compound interest on your premium, right? Because once you put in that work will start coming out, right? That's what it's all about. And my third point is this, last point, right? Keeping the new recruit engaged, communicating with them every day, right? Because a new recruit, they have to be coachable. But guess what? The new recruit also has to follow the process. We have to follow the process as leaders. As leaders, guys, they only gonna do what you tell them to do. They don't know nothing about this. When I came in this business, I didn't know anything. I was asking Mike and Derek, what do I do? If you have that mindset, that's the mindset of a beast. When you have that mindset, what's next? That's the mindset of a champion. When you had that mindset, hey, coach, I don't know anything about this. Can you teach me? But I'm gonna stay plugged in, because if you're winning, then the meeting needs you. If you're not winning, then guess what? You need the meeting. And you see, we have meetings almost every day, right? And if you're not having a meeting every day, you better meet with yourself and motivate yourself with all these videos that's out here. So guys, stay plugged in. Stay coachable, get a recruit off within 24 hours, and start working like a maniac. That's all I have.
Hey, very good, David. I wanted to reiterate that because urgency is something that's going to come from the leader. Okay. That's just what it is. You got to understand that, and you have to understand where it's important to be urgent. Okay. So all last month, I know in RFA shop, we've been talking a lot about Dalton and Whitney. Okay. Dalton and Whitney came in, and before that, it was Caleb and Amber, and people have come in and just absolutely crushed it in the beginning. Okay. And that's awesome. Okay. Because there's some people who come in and they don't pee a drop, like Bill would say, right? I think that's a little vulgar, but Danielle thinks it's funny when I say that. So I figured I'd do that. But they don't pee a drop, right? They don't do anything. Okay. And listen, I'm going to tell you now, okay, the more people you have that won't pee a drop, so last time I'm going to say it, the better you are doing. Okay. You got to let yourself off the hook. You got to stop blaming yourself if you have people that quit. Okay. Let me tell you something. More people are going to quit than don't. Okay. You just got to make sure you're not one of them. Okay. Please stop blaming yourself. However, when you have somebody like a Whitney or a Dalton that will come in, they will listen, they will set appointments. You don't have to do everything for them. That is an independent agent that you can coach and work with. Okay. However, that's not going to keep them in business forever. We know that, right, David? So if these people will go see everybody they know, if they'll be relentless, if they'll compete, it's our job to be urgent with them and help them get to the next level. But then what happens is Dalton and Whitney become district leaders, okay? So now we got to teach Dalton and Whitney how to get in front of people when it's not help with training. How do we do that? Well, Whitney and Dalton need to be teaching other people how to set appointments. Whitney and Dalton need to be teaching how to qualify a list. But Whitney and Dalton got to be very, very urgent with their leaders and Jay and Clinton and myself, right? It's just next levels of what it is that we need to do, right? But ultimately, what you have to understand is we got to stop trying. Number one, we got to stop trying to build huge businesses with 1 and 2 recruits a month, okay? Let me help you out. That's not going to happen. Okay, you're not going to build a big business. Just like if Danielle wants to build a huge insurance business, or Buck wants to build a huge investments business, you're not going to build either one of those talking to 1 or 2 people a week. Okay, we got to understand massive numbers, like David was just talking about. Invest our time into building our business. Okay, I'll tell you a real quick story. This goes back, and I'm going to bring Clinton up. Understanding this is a process. Danielle and I have been doing this since 2012. It's working and investing our time in people, whether it be clients or recruits. Okay. We met with someone in 2012. We didn't even have a license. We didn't have a license. We had a license. I did. Danielle might not have, but we didn't have an office. Okay. I went and met with the guy. He was like, I don't know how old he was, but anyway, I wrote a policy. The dude's dad died. Okay. The death claim was paid. It was a very smooth process. Now, this was over 10 years ago. Okay. The guy calls me yesterday, the son, the person, he said, listen, I have a business. I'm looking for 3.5 million in coverage for me and my partner. And I have to give you guys a shot at this because of the way y'all's company treated us when my dad died. Now, think about that. Think about how long ago that was. Think about the investment of our time and think about how that paid off down the road. We have to be, and it's the same thing with these recruits, guys. We have to understand that everything we are doing is an investment of our time. And people who invest, they don't do it just kind of conservatively and every now and again. If they're truly trying to build wealth, they have urgency, they're obsessed, they're passionate about it. And that's what we have to do with these people, right? And I think that's what you see David doing. So having that said, you got me excited, David. And it's not just because of the color of your hair. It's because of the color of your hair, the numbers you're on, your excitement, all those things considered, David. So I appreciate you, bro. What I want to do next, I asked Clinton, our newest RVP, what he is doing, some of the things that he thinks important are important, the mindset of people. So Clinton, can you hear me?
Yeah, Coach, I'm here.
Take it away, my friend.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Again, it's always good to be able to talk. David, Keisha, that is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, that's what everything you said, the basics, just following the basics is so important for new recruits to know, for help for all of us really, is to get back to the basics, is to continuously follow those principles, to include myself, because I ain't doing so hot this month so far, but we're going to fix that. All right. But what I want to talk about, what I want to bring in is for new people and for current agents in the business is the mindset to success. You see, I was listening to yesterday and this morning, I was listening to a motivational speech. I tend to do that quite often now compared to when I was just in the military. But I was listening to a motivational speaker, and he was talking about the mindset to success being that most generations today quit the second they get talked to. The second that they get an objection, the second that they get a firm talking to or any kind of a disciplinary action or whatever correction, they just quit. There's no mental toughness. Now, what does that mean for us? It means that if you have any mental toughness, any encouragement, any motivation, drive to succeed, you can win. You can be amazing in life. You can be absolutely amazing. And look, I'm a brag a little bit on myself here, not about Primerica business, about my past career coming through the military and what I've done. I go back and I actually take it for granted what I've accomplished and what I've done, thinking that it's just a normal thing. But in reality, what I've gone through, deployments and going to flight school and flying helicopters and being successful, saving money, putting my family in a really healthy situation, those are not very common things nowadays. Those are not common at all. So I actually take that for granted, and I give myself some credit for having the drive, the mental capacity to stay focused and stay motivated to do those things. Now, look, Primerica has challenged me more than I have ever been challenged before. And seriously, like motivation wise, there have been times, like, and I know people on here are experiencing the same things, and so do I. I'm sure so do Mike. I'm sure so does Bill Whittle. Experience times where you feel like you're taking one step forward and two steps back. It just feels like you're not moving. You can't do anything right. Every time you turn around, it's another chargeback. Every time you turn around, somebody's saying no, or you can't seem to set an appointment. Guys, Mike brought this up to me yesterday. I'm kind of upset that he thought about it before I did. He used Top Gun, the new movie. If any of you have seen it before, he used it as an example on me and said that, if you think about it, the Top Gun fighter pilots, those are the elite. They are the top of the line fighter pilots there are. And then you have Maverick, who's supposed to be the top of the top, like the best. But he pisses everybody off with what he does. Like everything he says or tends to do goes against the grain, goes against policies of the Navy and, their guidelines and SOPs. But he's the best of the best. But what does he tell Rooster quite often in the movie several times? Is you can be extremely smart, you can be extremely... Sorry, that was an external speaker. You can be extremely smart, you can be talented, all these great things, but he just tells them to stop thinking so much. Stop thinking. I mean, you got to know the basics. You got to know how to do the business. You got to know how to recruit, do these things, but they're fairly basic principles. Okay, they're fairly basic. And as soon as you stop overthinking things and stay motivated, stay plugged into your upline, keep watching videos and sound clouds of people who are successful in this business, the better off you are. Look, I just got my investment license. I've been trying to learn as much as I can. I got on a video yesterday with Omar. I can't think of his last name, nor can I probably say it, but he's a really cool dude, seems to be. And he was teaching some things about mutual funds and all these securities, and I couldn't get off of it. Like I was feeding into it. Like I want to know more, how do I access this information that he has? I want to go to his securities boot camp. Like being plugged into these videos, being plugged into these trainings. If you're not on POL, I'm sorry if I'm going all over the place. If you're not plugged in on POL and searching around and playing with the website and trying to find things to use for your benefit, well, you're already losing. To be frank with you, you're already losing. And look, I'm gonna get real for just a second, and then I'll be done for today. I'm gonna get real. The main problem, okay, the main thing is if you can't look in the mirror and see that you are the problem and you are the reason why you aren't where you want to be, then you're going to lose. Okay, if you have that victim mentality that it's not my fault, it's somebody else's, that they always telling me no, I can't do this, you're never going to win here. But what's great is that having the right mindset being able to overcome those things by staying plugged in, you can win. It's pretty easy. Like I said before, I've gone through days or weeks where it just seemed like, man, can I really do this? Like I've done a lot in 10, 12 years, whatever, but can I really do this? Is this possible? But then you look on like the track record of Primerica, you look at all the other things that we do, and it's like, this is real. Like this, excuse my French, this shit's real. All right. So the thing is okay, look, you got to look in the mirror. You got to realize if you aren't where you want to be, you're the problem. Now, the thing is you can fix that. You can easily fix that. You can become the solution. You can dive into personal development, learn why you feel that way, and learn what you can do to strengthen that. These are all things that are very doable. We have access to all of this stuff, guys. The cool thing is when you look at the difference between winners and losers, it's pretty simple. What I'm going to tell you is it's no secret that winners typically give credit to others for their success. Losers tend to blame others. So be a winner. Keep in touch with your upline. Keep moving forward. Stick to the basics. Keep it simple. Stop overthinking everything and stay motivated. I'll hand it back over to you, Mike.
Great job, Clinton. Wonderful job. And I agree, man. I do agree with you. You've done a great job. Flying a helicopter is not that easy. I tried at Dave and Buster's and blew it. So I totally understand where you're coming from, but there's nothing like an RVP run like you made, man. And listen, we talk about, and I'm going to get real with you too, because whether you worked at Sonic, okay, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you sold cell phones, whether you were a nurse like Drew, whatever the case may be, whether you were a college student like Buck, being in business is not hard. I'm going to disagree with Clinton briefly, but I understand what he was saying. Flying a helicopter is not hard if you've been trained to do it, okay? If you learned how to do it, you put in the work, you were trained. Winning in business like Primerica is not hard. It's only hard if you're unwilling to change. If you're not willing to change, you are going to be in a bind, man. But that's the beautiful thing about Primerica, and that's the beautiful thing about understanding you are in total control. That's scary for a lot of folks. It was scary for me. I couldn't handle it for a little while. But after I realized that this is my shot, I realized that change is necessary. And that's what Clinton's talking about right here, guys. You got to understand this business. There's certain things that are come natural to you, and there's certain things that aren't. Like, for an example, I may not have been that outgoing when I came into the business. But if I want to build a business through people, I had better be outgoing. I had better be encouraging. I had better be a motivator. Why? Because people can come in with a bad attitude. People can come in as victims, right? People can come in selfish. People can come in lazy, those types of things. That's okay. I was telling Clinton this yesterday. Everybody's going to have something different. And I kind of made a joke. I said, Clinton just knows a little bit too much. He's a little bit too smart for this business. David's a little bit got a conspiracy theory type of an attitude. Mike might be a little bit impatient. I don't know, but it's going to be something. Okay. And my point in going into that, guys, is understanding what our weaknesses are so we can help others understand what their weaknesses are. Okay. That is one of those things that I'll lead into, because that is the business. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help and understanding where you need to improve. And I've been talking to Daniela Bennett a lot about that. And I'm very proud of her, because she recognized some things that I had already recognized. But if she didn't recognize them, we're not getting busy fixing them. Okay. And the last thing I'll say about that is, at this point, going into 23, as your leader or one of your leaders, I want to talk about the problem with my people about 5% of the time, and 95% of the time, let's talk about the solution. All right. Let's talk about how we solving that. Like if we're going to keep talking about the problem, well, I don't want to do that. Okay. I am not interested in who you are right now, nor am I interested in who I am right now. I'm interested in where are we going? Where are we going? Right. And that's what it's got to be in 2023. And I see David doing it. You're about to see both of these guys, David and Keisha, with Clinton and Caitlin, going to the $100,000 range. So you know what I'm doing? While I'm coaching them and helping them to the best of my ability, I got to grab a hold of Jay. I got to grab a hold of Daryl. I got to grab a hold of the people that are still in my base shop that now want to go to the next level. We're about to get Drew back on the RVP contract. So all the things that I'm sitting here talking to you about today, they lead back to the fundamentals of the business. Okay. How urgent are we going to be in 2023? And what are we going to be urgent with? Okay. So moving into the second half of this training, we're not going to be on here long. I just want to talk about some specifics. Okay. I just sat down. When we talk about recruiting and building, okay, and if that's what you want to do, that's what we're going to talk about. If you don't want to recruit and build, if you don't want to work with people, then you need to send them to your upline, because everybody deserves a shot, okay? Now, having that said, how are we going to recruit? All right, what are we going to say and do to recruit? First off, you have to have a process, okay? You have to have a process. So what is that process going to be? How much time are you going to spend recruiting, okay? So having that said, Daryl, can you unmute? Are you in a position where you can speak? If not, Jay, I'm going to come to you next if Daryl's not. Jay, go ahead and unmute. I have a simple question for you, okay? When you're out and about and you're talking to people and you're getting them interested. Now, before we go into this, if you are getting people interested, those people, those same people that you get interested, they're going to maybe not answer the phone. They're going to maybe say, yeah, you know what, I'm not interested in doing anything anymore. But he got them interested initially, and that's where it starts, okay? So, Jay, what is something you say, like a one-liner or a very brief introduction? My friend has a gun. That's funny. What do you say to get somebody's name and number in regards to interviewing for our business?
First, I appreciate you giving the opportunity to speak right now. Really, to be honest with you, I first compliment them, and it's not a fake compliment. If they really did something, I'm like, hey, man, I appreciate the way you helped me out. How long have you been working here? Or do you keep your options open to make more income? Or are you making the kind of money you want to make right now? Usually from there, they'll tell me, yes, they are, no, they're not. And at the end of that whole exchange, I'm like, well, look, man, I'd really like to sit down, talk to you about what I'm doing here in this area. Give me your name and number. I'm getting ready to leave, but I'm going to follow up with you, or I'll have one of my business partners contact you. Is that okay? Usually after that, that's pretty much the end of it. And then I will send that number, or I'll contact them, or I'll have you contact them, or somebody that that has more credibility than me or has more talent than me to be able to follow up with that person. And then from there, we just work the system, work the process. But that's all it is. I don't have a lot of time to give you the whole presentation, but I'm just going to basically compliment you, see your interest, and then I'm going to keep it moving.
Okay, so what Jay just said right there is, and he's done this with me, and I'm encouraging him to do it much, much more. Same thing with Daryl. Jay sent me a number of a guy who he talked to, and he said the same thing to. This guy's in, I believe he's in police or security or something like that. And Jay said something similar to that. And then the guy agreed to meet with me, but he has not yet answered the phone, and he also doesn't think that he has time. Okay. So Jay, what do you do in that situation? How do you handle that?
To be honest with you, the old Jay would have beat myself up and been like, I've done something wrong. Maybe it's me. Maybe they're not, maybe I said something wrong. Maybe I overthought what, I don't know. But now I'm like, look, what can I do? I did my part. I got you in and you didn't. So now it's next, and not beat myself up and keep going.
Okay. No, and see, that sounds so easy. Okay. But for a lot of people, you cannot let it go that you're trying to motivate unmotivated people. Okay. We have to understand in 2023, you cannot motivate unmotivated people. Okay. You invite people, you give them everything you got, you get them involved, but if they won't, y'all have all heard you can lead the horse to water. You can't make them drink. We have to have that mentality, guys. Next is the key. Okay. Understanding what it is and how it goes. Now, once we get somebody in the office, here's what I do. Okay. Asking some more specific questions about how to recruit, what to say when recruiting. When I ask questions, you got to get yourself in a situation where you can figure out how to help these people. Okay. Vita spoke to a guy at Academy this week and asked the guy to come in for an interview. Okay. The guy, for some reason, didn't have the proper transportation. So she went and picked him up this morning, got him into the office, and he's going to be a superstar if he decides to join the business. I really like the kid. He played football, and he said all the right things. He's getting married. He's a young guy. And I asked him, I said, what do you do for a living? He said, I work at Academy. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying, because you got to be asking these questions. Okay. I said, he would say he works at Academy. He plays football. He goes to college. Okay. So what I already know, I know that he works in retail. There's not very many people on the planet that really enjoy working in retail. Okay. So I already know that. All right. He's in college and he's getting married. So I sit there but I asked him, I said, do you like working in retail? And he kind of shook his head and I said, so you basically tolerate it? Yes. Okay, perfect. So I sat there, I showed him the credibility of the company, which was on the previous training that we did Wednesday. I showed him a brief explanation of who we are. Then I showed him what we do. I showed him the rule of 72 and I showed him the insurance. And I said, Michael, great name, by the way. I said, you got to give him a compliment. Okay. I said, Michael, how much money do you make an hour? He said, $13 an hour. I said, okay. When you compare A and B in the presentation that I use, it's an $82 insurance policy that we're switching them to. He said there's not a human being in the world. He agreed that there's not a human being in the world that would stay over here paying $200 and some a month versus $80 a month. We agreed on that, right? I said, Michael, how much do you make an hour? He said $13 an hour. I took my phone and because that $80 commission at our first level of management would pay about $400 the next day. I said, Michael, this policy that you sold that took you about an hour, in your current situation, it would take 30 hours to make what you just made in 1 hour. Okay. I said, now, Michael, he said he likes helping people and he doesn't mind learning something new. I say, okay, Clinton, here's the deal. If you don't mind learning something new and you're willing to pass a test and you like helping people, you're going to make in 1 hour what you make in 30 hours. Now, he didn't sign up. I can't do anything about that. I'm sure he will sign up, but I made it very clear that we're not selling vacuum cleaners. We're not selling candles. I made it very clear that we didn't just start yesterday. I made it very clear that our opportunity will pay you a bunch of money. And he made it very clear to me that he doesn't fully like his job. There's nothing more that we can do, guys. There's nothing more that we can do besides go find somebody else and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And what's going to end up happening, Michael's probably going to join the business, but we already talked to 3, 4, 5, 6 more people. So now we're getting 3 or 4 more recruits, and now we're turning that into double-digit recruiting. Is that kind of making sense to everybody? But I'm not going to lose any sleep if I find out that Michael decided that this isn't for him. Why? Because I took it all the way. I did everything I need to do, and I understand the numbers, okay? Now, Clinton, unmute real quick, please.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you've been one of the top recruiters. Let's say that you recruit somebody. Let's say that you recruit a Dalton, you recruit a Caleb. What's the first thing that you were doing besides meeting with them to do a planner? What are you doing in the very beginning to get them off to a fast start? What would you say is the most important thing to do if somebody decides they want to be a builder in 2023?
Well, I mean, with that going into a fast start planner to get a names list, to get their contacts and start building their production, we got to get them licensed as soon as possible too. So we got to get them into pre-licensing and complete that paperwork so that they can be a builder and start making money. But ultimately it's getting them, like you said, you mentioned it right before you turned it over to me. It's getting those names, it's getting their inventory built for their business within that first 24 to 48 hours. That's where it all starts.
Okay, so who do we want to see? Guys, this is right here, right now. Beside, y'all know you got to work. You know, you got to find people to see. You already know that. I don't have to go into all that. But right now at this moment, what we are going over is the reason we are where we are today. It is the reason we have 500 agents in our organization. It's the reason we have ownership of our business. So please pay attention and please take this very, very seriously because it will change your business. You do not have to be that good to make progress and build teams if you follow this. Clinton, who do we need to go see first?
So a good strategy to use is you ask them, listen, you got 1 quarter and you're at a payphone. We're not in those times anymore, but you're at a payphone. You're on the side of the road. You got a flat. You got to call one person to come pick you up. You need help. Who are you going to call? They say, well, my mom. All right. Well, she didn't answer. Who are you going to call next? My dad. He didn't answer. Who are you going to call next? My aunt. She didn't answer either. Who are you going to call? And you go all the way down to 10, 15, 20, whoever it is. That's the people we initially want to see. We want to see the people that know you, that love you, that you can walk into their house without really knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell, that you have the credibility with, that are qualified.
So that's real good. Now, please don't underestimate how important that is, okay? Because the tendency is to want to sell insurance, and you're going to sell insurance, okay? But what we need to do here is you need to start building a reputation for yourself and building a reputation for that person. Okay. Danielle Bennett has been my closest agent for the longest amount of time. And it's simply because I asked a guy, who would he invite to his wedding? The first person he said was Jeff Bennett. He said, Jeff Bennett was in my wedding. I said, okay. Now, I didn't say, does Jeff need insurance? Matter of fact, I didn't care if Jeff needed insurance. I said, what does Jeff do? He's in the military. Okay. Is he married? Yes. What does his wife do? She stays at home and watches their kid. Okay. We need to meet with them now. We call. So I teach Robert how to set an appointment. Robert calls Jeff, asks for help with training. He's getting trained with a new opportunity. We need to come over and do a training appointment. He's going to bring a very good looking man with him that's short. And we're going to talk about whatever we're going to talk about the business. And I'm going to find out what I can do to help Danielle and Jeff. I get over there. I find out that Danielle is getting ready to sell Limu. If you don't know what Limu is, it's a $500 energy drink that they say cures cancer. So just think about that for a second. So I get over there and I find out that she's interested in that. Okay. We start talking about possibly working with us. I said, Danielle, listen, I'm opening up an office. Now listen, guys, I had been back from Afghanistan 2 weeks. Okay. But this is the passion. This is the focus. This is the vision that I had. I said, I'm opening up an office here. It's a done deal. I just got to find people to help me do it, Anisha. I just got to find some sharp, hardworking people that like helping others. Okay. That like helping others, because in this business, you can't make any money if you don't like helping others. Okay. So Danielle says, she wants to work, but she can't find a job that'll actually let her make her own schedule and pay for daycare. I said, well, that's perfect. We signed Danielle up for the business because I have a vision, and it's not just to sell insurance. You see, I know that I am going to sell Danielle and Jeff insurance. I know it's going to happen. I want to recruit her first. And just to be honest with you on this, guys, you need to understand everybody you recruit is going to become a client. Aim for the recruit if they're recruitable. Danielle's sitting there, great person, struggling financially. She has time. How could I not recruit her? The only way I could not recruit her is if I don't have my recruiting radar up, if I'm not building a business. Does that make sense? And I know a lot of y'all think that you're going to sell the insurance first and then recruit them. I'm asking you to change that if you want to be a builder, right? So I asked Danielle if she'd be interested in doing something else. She said yes. We did the IBA. We did the insurance policy on the same day. But here's what happened, okay? This is the key behind what I'm telling you when I talk about how important it is. Robert Rogers, the guy that led me to Danielle, he quit. He got licensed. He quit. Why'd he quit? Personal reasons. It really doesn't matter, okay? He quit. But you know what? The first thing I said to Danielle is, who's the first person that you would invite to your wedding? Well, she's from Ruston. Jeff's not, they're not from here. So what we ended up doing is we set an appointment with the neighbor, Tony, who would come to her wedding. We go see Tony. Tony's a truck driver, Jay. I said, Tony, how you like driving trucks? His smile, he's got the best smile in the world. He said, I don't like driving trucks, Mike. I want to be a pastor. I said, well, how's that? How are you going to become a pastor if you get up at 2:30 in the morning every morning to go drive trucks? He said, I'm probably not. I said, well, look, we need to sit back down with you and talk about the business. I called him the very next day. I said, listen, Tony, I'm coming over there. And he said, well, my wife is here. I said, I didn't need your wife. I don't need your wife to be there. When I walked in the door, he said, Mike, I knew why you were coming. I knew you wanted me to work with you. He said, here's my driver's license. So we signed up Tony. Okay. Tony becomes a pastor, quits driving trucks. And now he's a pastor and he works locally. And his wife, I don't believe she worked for PFSU for 5 years. Now look at what I'm trying to say here, guys. What's my point? We're getting in front of people that would come to your wedding or their wedding. We're figuring out where they need help and we're helping them. And if they're helpable, we're going to help them. If they're closed-minded or they're comfortable where they are, we can't help them, but we are getting in front of them. I hope that makes sense, guys, because ultimately that's the name of this business. That's the game here. Now look, ultimately, if you're not going to recruit somebody, but you get in front of them with the purpose of, I'm opening an office, I'm building my own team, I need some help. I may not recruit Jay, but I can find a recruit through Jay, because I believe that good people want to help other people. They just don't know how they can help you because you haven't asked. Does that make sense? Or maybe it's somebody that you want to get in front of for an insurance policy, or maybe it's an investment, whatever it is. If you don't go and ask your friends and family, the first thing I did when I got back from Afghanistan is I called everybody in my family. I have 5 or 6 aunts and uncles. I said, listen, I'm going full time. I need some people that I can go see. Who do you know this, and this? Okay. Who do you know that has kids? Who do you know that owns a home? Who do you know that has a job and maybe would be interested in making more money? And I actually followed up with them and got a list. Okay. So guys, what I'm trying to tell you here as we close, it's got to be intentional. You got to be specific in what it is that you are doing. And you got to look at that list as an inventory. Okay. If you don't have anybody on that list to go see, how do you expect to stay in business? That's kind of like McDonald's not taking inventory of their chicken nuggets. How are they expecting to have any chicken nuggets next week if they don't take a look and figure out what they have to order more of? Is that making sense to everybody, guys? That's the name of this game. And here's the deal. One thing I always do, if I go into a restaurant or somewhere, you know, Walmart, I don't ever go into Walmart. I don't like going into Walmart at all, by the way. But if I do go in there and I see somebody that I want to prospect or recruit, I'm going to get their name and number. Okay. If they're busy, I'm going to get their name. Okay. Not their number, excuse me. I'm going to get their name, and I'm going to call back up to the restaurant. I'm going to say, hey, listen, Jay, you just waited on me. I knew you were very, very busy and I had a lot going on, but you just waited on me. You did a very good job. I want to set up an interview with you. Would you mind giving me 30 minutes of your time one day next week? And I'm doing that because now I can call back and indirectly recruit him. Or I can say, hey, listen, you don't know me, but Danielle Bennett's opening an office around here, and you have some of the characteristics she looks for. You mind if I give Danielle your number? And what you're doing is you're passing that along maybe to your leader and allowing your leader to build your team for you. The last thing I'll say, guys, that we're going to end is Primerica. Danielle's lived this. David's lived this. You're seeing the entire Monroe group live this. Daryl, Jay, Clinton's about to live this. Primerica will pay people more money than anybody in American business. That is a fact. Okay. Primerica will take you on the best trips. Primerica will take the qualifiers to Disneyland, Disney World, and shut down the park just for you. Primerica will give you more stock. Primerica will pay for all the licenses. Primerica will pay for all your people's licenses. They'll give you $10,000 in stock when you qualify for RVP, and they'll give the promoting RVP $10,000 of stock. They'll do all these different things, okay? But they will not find your people. That's the point. They will provide everything, but they're not going to go find your people. I'll provide everything I possibly can, but I can't go find everybody's people. That's what we got to be good at. And from there, once you get good at that, it's just a matter of time. Okay. So guys, thank y'all for being on. What I want you to do is please, please, please take this very, very seriously. The Fast Start School is going to be in Baton Rouge, 27th and 28th. Okay. Please don't make any excuses, and please do not accept any excuses. Okay. It's a new year. This is the place that you need to be. We get to watch the great Clinton and Caitlin Giglio cross stage. Drew Craig is flying in from Tennessee. It's going to be a wonderful event. Okay. Please do not let your people miss this event. It's very important that we take this very, very seriously. More announcements will come. The gala is going to be that Saturday night. All RVPs are automatically in. Other than that, we have 7 slots for My Base Shop. I believe David and Keisha have several. They'll have to post that. But we're competing all the way up until the day before. So if you're not guaranteed a slot yet, get you a slot. If you feel like you're guaranteed a slot, you better keep working. Okay. You don't want to miss this event. Mario and Franny Arizon are also going to be there. Blake's getting a party bus. There's going to be a photo. It's going to be all kind of stuff. He started rattling off everything he was doing this morning, and I couldn't keep up. Just know it's going to be awesome. You don't want to miss it. All right. Hey guys, love y'all. We're going to do this again next weekend, but I appreciate your time. Call me if you need me. I'll be working all weekend. Thank y'all. Great job.